The Rebbe used to speak in Chodesh, usually had a verbringen in honor of his father. His father was nifter at a relatively young age, because his father was taken to prison because he was a proud Rov, and the communists were not very happy with him. He was tormented in prison. There was another prison. He was sent in exile. He passed away finally the 20th of Av Nebuch, very broken and sick, in Kazakhstan, and he's buried in Almaty. So the Rebbe used to verbring, and Nebuch, his father, suffered very much for a few years. Physically suffered. Tremendous suffering. The Rebbe used to verbring in honor of his father. The Rebbe used to say that by a tzaddik, it can't be that chas v'sholom, that their life was cut short. That the Eibishter makes that whatever they needed to accomplish should be accomplished. That's why by Chassidim there's a minhag that when a tzaddik passes away, they call it mishtal tikkun. People take l'chaim, a little mashke, a little cake. What's the party when a tzaddik passes away that we're drinking a little bit of mashke? Make hilula. Because hilula means a day of celebration, and histalkus means a day of elevation. Because for sure that the tzaddik that passes away, like the Zohar says, has a more of effect even than in his lifetime on the people of his generation. So here is a sicha that the Rebbe said in honor of his father, which has connection to last week's parsha, this week's parsha, and the coming week parsha. One of the final mitzvahs that Moshe Rabbeinu does, and this is a preparation for going into Eretz Yisrael, is that he sets aside 3 cities for refuge, Ori Miklot, cities of refuge. Here is a special halacha that the Rebbe spoke about, an unbelievable halacha, an unbelievable pshat that the Rebbe has in this halacha. So let's look quickly in the main halacha, and then we'll review quickly a few of the other halachas that connected to this. The Rambam says in the Hilchas Roitzeach Shmiras HaNefesh in Perek 7, the first halacha, Talmid shegolel ori miklat. A student that accidentally killed someone and therefore went to exile to the cities of refuge. Megal and Rabbi Imoy, they also send his Rebbe in exile with him. So the student killed someone accidentally. He has to go to the city of refuge, to Ori Miklat. His Rebbe gets sent there too. Shenamar,
relocation.
Exactly. Shenamar v'choya, that he has to live there. Asay lo kedei sheyichya, you have to make that he should be alive. V'chaya chochma v'aksha belo Talmud kemisa chashuvin, and people that are balei chochma without learning Talmud, that's like if they died. So therefore you have to send the Rebbe into Golus. If there is a Rebbe that the whole yeshiva goes in exile with him.
What's the student suffer and what's the Rebbe suffer?
So the parshiyos, why is the Rambam adding this whole pshat that you're saying? The din is, that's the din. The Rambam usually doesn't say reasons for halachas unless for special cases. The Rambam adds that the pasuk says v'choya say like the shicha. The Rambam adds a whole thing over here. Obviously, the Rambam is bothered by an obvious question. An obvious question. Why should the Rebbe suffer? The Rebbe has to suffer because his student killed someone?
And by mistake?
What did the Rebbe do wrong? And we say that the Gemara says that the Eibishter has a cheshbon of how he does justice. That could be a person really deserves to be in exile. Or maybe there was once that he really killed someone, but there was someone. The Gemara says someone killed someone b'mezid, and he deserves to get killed, and someone else deserves another punishment. So accidentally, this guy falls on the other guy, and one guy that deserves to get killed gets killed, and the other guy deserves to go to Golus goes to Golus. Nothing happens accidentally. Because he accidentally killed someone, it must be that he's a Rasha. Now you're telling me his Rebbe has to go to Golus? It doesn't make sense. There's a lot of halachas that were very sensitive to killers, that they should be able to, for example, look in the halacha in the next chapter. So they'll look at halacha, first of all, just interesting halacha. Halacha 5, Halacha Dalet. Mimei Melech HaMashiach, by Sifim Shalosh Achedes. In the days of Mashiach, there'll be another 3 cities of Ori Miklat. Aleilu Ashesh, and Emar V'yasafta L'cha Oit Shalosh Orim Ala Shalosh Eila. That there'll be another 3 besides these 3. Ve'echem Asifanasa, Ba'ori Hakeni Knizi V'Kadmoini. I'm just mentioning this Rambam because we learned about it last week. That in the city of Keni, in the lands of Keni, Knizi V'Kadmoini, there's going to be another 3 Ori Miklat, which is a total of 9. And because these lands were nichnas laVavram Avinu bris aleim v'adayna nichbeshu v'aleim nema b'toyre v'im yarchev Hashem alakechas gvulcha. I'm only reading this because last week we spoke about this, that the original boundaries of Israel that were promised to Israel were huge. The Eibishter says that your land will be min hayam hagodel al nahar peros, from the Mediterranean until the Euphrates. It's a huge country. It never happened. Never ever happened. So we say when Mashiach is going to come, that it's going to be that Israel will expand to be a huge country. So May Melech HaMashiach, there'll be another 3 Ori Miklat. Okay, let's continue now to the halacha that's relevant today. They have to make good roads. To make them wide. To take out every obstacle in the road. There can't be middle of the road any obstacle, not a hill, not a valley. There has to be straight roads, and just like in America, you know, if you want to get funding for your highway, you can't have even a single light. Otherwise, it's not called a highway. There's no federal funding for you. You're called a street. If there's one light on your road, that's it. You're not a highway. There have to be highways to Miklat. If you have to pass, there's no lights. They make a bridge so the traffic can go underneath, but there's no stopping. Highways are not as big as this. 32 amas, we're talking about 32 amas is roughly 60 feet wide. It's not bad. Miklat the parshas there were big signs that said Miklat. Not like today in Israel, big signs. Miklat means something in a cellar. Miklat means that was the city of refuge.
How come the Torah is so much worried about if somebody kill someone?
Because even though he did it, but it was accidental, he needs to be punished, but not to be killed. So he has to go there quickly, because otherwise someone will kill him. And then skip to the last halacha.
This is only when it's known.
There has to be Eidim.
Right.
Right. Ori miklat ein oisens an loya yoretz gedoyles v'loy karachim gedoylen v'loy ktanim el yoretz beinim. They would make the cities ordinary size, not too big, not too small. There has to be marketplace in there. You have to live. People have to be able to buy vegetables and fruits in the morning. We don't say, oh, there, you know what, they killed people. Never mind, let them just throw them up in a... They have to have shvakim. They have to be...
Hotel 5-star.
Not 5-star, but good enough. They incentivize, the Bezdin would say, you know what, no property taxes if you live in the Ori Miklat. The Ori Miklat has to be a normal place. You can't have a whole bunch of ragtag of people that killed people. There has to be good people there, Kohanim, Levim, Yisraelim. So Bezdin would have to incentivize people to go live there. That it should be a normal city. That it should be normal.
They can
have, right, that's why. If you have normal people, they'll have cameras, they'll have business. You don't do the type of business that will bring the Goyal Adam in there. But you do make that there should be a normal city, there should be business, there should be marketplace, there should be water, so the people are safe there. So you understand, when we build the cities of refuge for these killers, they have to be that the people could live there. There is water, there is marketplaces, there is business, there is good people there, there's shuls, yeshivas, everything is nice. But now we say that a killer has a Rebbe, and he went to exile. The Rebbe also goes to exile. That's not fair. Why is it? So the Rambam says, oh, you know why? The Rambam says because the student is so hungry to learn from his Rebbe that if he's not going to learn Torah, it's as if he's dying. It's pikuach nefesh. It's as if the student is dying. So what would you do to save a Jew's life? So therefore, and the Rambam, the Rebbe says, where did Rambam? There's no Gemara this. It's a pasuk. The pasuk says in Kaholas, "Hachochma tichya b'aleha," that the wisdom, chochma, makes a person alive. That means that someone that's into learning, that their whole life is the wisdom. If you'll take away wisdom from them, it's as if they're dead. Their life is not worth living. So that's where the Rambam takes it from. But
How about he's married?
so the Rabbi and his family go there.
No, the wife?
For sure. Where's the Rebbe unless he doesn't want to be with his wife? His wife
Yeah,
is
not
going to
the
come
Rebbe.
with him.
The
Then it's
guy
Seich
that-
also. If his wife wants to be with him, she'll come with him. Otherwise, he'll divorce her.
The worst is
I just want to
Yeah.
know who wants
Jews
to
are
be
very
that rabbi.
righteous people for
Yeah.
generations.
Yeah.
You have all of these cities and everything. How many, God forbid,
How many this?
people could have killed by accident? You can have a whole city. And you have righteous,
We
these righteous people.
it has
I would think that'd be a
the city
handful.
could, even if there was a handful of people, the city has to be there. Even if there was a handful of people, that was the mitzvah. It didn't matter how many people were there. They have to have the city. Now back to the Rambam. The Rambam, yeah.
So why is it, Rebbe, that he must have his Rebbe come? I believe
Let him have just the Rebbe.
Well, they already have yeshivas and rebbeim there. Why
Right.
can't he
I
find
hear it. It's a
somebody
good
there?
question. It's a
What
good
is
question.
The question even harder.
How about the other students? They can all go to the Ori Miklat.
And the whole yeshiva there.
So you basically
You'll
the
have,
entire country there.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
you said that the Rebbe killed by mistake.
The whole yeshiva goes.
Yeah.
What the whole yeshiva suffer? Mainly one on one.
Right, the whole yeshiva got to suffer now.
So many bochim or
I just
people.
want to know which rabbi wants to be that rabbi in the end. In the
Right.
story, you know?
You got to be very careful. You got to be very
Many
careful.
rabbis
Before
that
you
kill
kill
the student
someone.
alive.
The Rogatchover has a pshat like this. The Rogatchover says that this is a very spiritual reason. It doesn't make sense to him, this whole reason. He says that he thinks the reason, that Rambam said a spiritual reason. It doesn't make sense. He says like this. He says, your student was a killer. You were actually teaching him Torah. The din is you're not allowed to teach Torah to Talmud She'enei Hogan. You're not allowed to teach Torah to a student which is not a good student. Turns out you were learning Torah with a killer. You know what?
We'll suffer with it.
You go suffer with him. You go suffer with him. That's the student you raised. That's your student.
Yeshiva.
You know what? You go with him.
And
The
what-
Rebbe says, all due
The
respect
opposite?
for the Rogatchover, the Rebbe was very into the Rogatchover. He says, this time, the Rogatchover is a little off. First of all, so no Rebbe wants to be a Rebbe. You can be a plumber, you can be an electrician, do whatever you want. Don't be a Rebbe. All you got to do is one student that accidentally gets involved with the bad crowd. Finish, you're out. That's not a good business. Don't be a Rebbe.
Selling bones.
So that doesn't make sense as the Rebbe. And Bachlal, the din is that you're supposed to teach students, unless you know that a student is totally off the derech. If you know the student is totally off the derech, so then there's a question. There was like there was a shaila that someone once asked that there's all kinds of interesting shailas. There was once a Maggid Shir doing kiruv work in Israel, about Beersheba something. And there was one kid that used to bring all kinds of kids. He used to bring all kids off the street, and he used to give cool shir and and the kid spoke good Hebrew and a few words of Yiddish, but the kid always ran out before the end of the. But he was curious, who is this kid that's bringing him all? So he found out this is an Arab kid. It was an Arab. He's an Arab, but he enjoyed the rabbi shir. And not only that, he was getting old because he was like a cheverman on the street, and he was getting all his friends to come. This guy asked the shaila. He asked the shaila by like big poiskim. Is he allowed? You're not supposed to teach Torah with an Arab kid. Anyway, the psak was he should keep on teaching. He can't. He should keep on teaching. He's not inviting him into the base medrash.
Maybe his mother was one of his.
Yeah, who knows exactly. What should you do? You're supposed to teach every Jew. The Rebbe says, no, that's not the pshat. The pshat is that the Rambam really said a good reason. And the Rebbe has a murder de kediyuk here. What does it mean? V'chaye bala chochma umevaksha. What does it mean, umevaksha? Bala chochma means the people that are wise people. What's mevakish mean?
Talmud.
What's mevakish? The word mevakish. Huh? Asking. Asking. Who's asking? What's asking? Baalei Chochmah is wise people, learned people. Who's mevakish? Mevakish Hashem. What's mevakish? Mevakesh means someone searching. If you're searching, you didn't get there yet. If you got there, you're not searching, right? Obviously, if you're searching, you didn't get there. So who's talking about Mevaksha? Says the Rebbe. The Rambam is like saying Oy Mevaksha. U is like, sometimes in Hebrew, U is like Oy. If a Jew is wise and he's learning Torah, so then if you take away the Torah from them, the person is not alive.
No.
But there could be a Jew, he's not a wise Jew, but he came to the yeshiva and he's mevakesh Hashem. He's looking, he's searching, he's trying to learn. He doesn't know much yet, but he got turned on and he's coming to the yeshiva and he's learning. So now the Rambam is saying that when you, not only a Jew who is a big scholar, now if you're going to take away the Torah from him, his life is not a life. Also a Jew that seems to you is not so a scholar, but he comes to the shir and it looks like he's tired and falls asleep, he's here, he's there, sometimes he's here and sometimes not. But you should know that this Jew is mevakesh, he's searching. Why did he come to the Beis Medrash? Why is he not sitting at home and watching TV? Because he's mevakesh, he's searching for the Eibishter. So even though he's not yet a balei chochma, he's not yet a great scholar, but what's the difference? If he's looking and he's searching, that means this is his life. And if he came to you, that you are his Rebbe, that means, why is he coming to you? He can come to one of 100 yeshivas. Why is he coming to you? He's coming to you because obviously he feels that you could teach him. So if that's the case, you have to follow him also when he goes to Golus, because you know what? If someone's coming to you to learn from you, that means that they feel that you could give it to them. Now that they're going to go to Golus and they're going to lose the connection with you, so what do you think is going to happen? Well, what do you think is going to happen? So therefore, you have to go down there, and you have to help out the seed.
You have to help him out. You can help him out to find another rabbi.
No, because he came to you. That means he's mevakesh, and he feels that he's learning, and because there's a concept in halacha of koyach and poil. There's the potential and actuality, and we say because you see the potential and the student sees the potential. If he came to you, that means he sees that potentially you could learn with him. So how could you let him go to Golus and now his life is not worth living? So therefore you're obligated to move to Golus with him and to teach this Yid.
Just shot from the Ragachover, it's hard to understand. How you explain the opposite? If the Rebbe kills someone by mistake, what kind of Rebbe, what kind of student want to learn by a Rebbe like that kills someone by mistake? That you said the whole student going to the Shiva. It's exactly the opposite.
Yeah. But again, why can he find? Why would be the idea that maybe he can find time to go there, learn with him, and then find him somebody else to take over? Why does he have to be there?
Listen, if he goes to the Golus, if he goes to the Golus and over there he finds himself a new Rebbe, that's a different story. Could be that. So you're asking a good question. What happens if the student finds himself a new Rebbe in Golus? That's a different thing. If he finds himself a new Rebbe, he finds himself a new Rebbe. That's not what we're talking about.
Maybe he knows also that the mother, Kohen Gadol, she's a good cook, and she gave him food. She has to give them food.
Yeah. Can you imagine that every time someone is going to have to go with them?
Is he responsible for everything?
He's responsible to teach him in Golus.
Responsible.
Yeah.
Who is the Rebbe father teaching in Golus? There's nobody there.
Not off the subject, but on the subject, there's a connection that when Kohen Gadol passes away, he's free to go.
That's a separate thing. We spoke about it last week on Sunday. Yeah.
But it's happened ever that Kohen Gadol died, and this guy got out from the Miklat? It's happened in time of Bet HaMikdash. They didn't speak about it. I never saw speaking that.
Sure. Every time a Kohen Gadol passed away, all the people that were in the mikvah went home. That's
The Torah didn't say one word about it. You speak so much about it now, The Rebbe will go to him. The mother will, Kohen Gadol will give him food and everything. But they didn't say ever that it's happened, and they get out after the Kohen Gadol died. I never saw it in reading down the Torah.
Obviously, it was a routine thing. It happened all the time.
It's
I went.
Arei Miklat doesn't walk till you have three everywhere there, three in Eretz Yisrael.
Right.
So if it was never in the other side what Mashiach will make, that means it was never Arei Miklat walking.
No, only the 3 and the 3. The 3 were waiting for the other 3. As long as you had 6 functioning, then that was all working. Mashiach will come have 9, but the 3 are not good enough. You need to have 3 plus 3 is 6. As long as 6 are functioning,
So
it's
when
the
there was
mitzvah's
6,
going.
when
When it was 6,
when
it's
this
all
other
working.
6 was functioning.
As soon as they went into the Eva Yard, then Yeshua was Makadosh the other 3. Moshe Rabbeinu did the 3, and Yeshua did the
So
other
it started only when Yeshua was.
Start only when Yeshua did the other 3, right?
And so, some say that all the 42 Ari Halvim
Right, Ari Halvim was also-
and
was
some
also.
say not. Some are
Right, so that's a separate thing. They were.
To calculate the Tchias Amazing will be from Yisrael until now, it's going to be like 1 billion Jew. Of course, we need that soul to be all over and so big, not like.
What's
10
the
million
Pella?
people. What's the Pella?
Exactly. We're going to need a big country. So, therefore, you can't. In other words, the Rebbe is saying you can't say, "Oh, there's a Jew that's far out there." So, okay, he's there. He's in Golus. I'm responsible. He's searching. Let him search. So I have a friend. It was just like an unbelievable series of Hashgacha Pratis. And I'm thinking of buying new mezuzahs. So he's writing mezuzahs. He's also a shliach. He's a shliach in a city. And he asked me, "What do you want to buy mezuzahs for me?" I said, "How much you charge it?" $250 a mezuzah.
Wow.
So he says, "But if you're buying mezuzahs by me, you're also supporting me." I said, "Okay, I hear. It's a good sales pitch." And I brought all my mezuzahs, about it was a little over 26 mezuzahs I had. I brought it to check now, and they went through and they showed me that 10 mezuzahs basically were kosher, but the other ones were good. So I said, "You know what? I want to buy two." I said to the seller, I said, I'd like to buy another 10 mezuzahs, but I want the Alter Rebbe's Ksav. I said, I had a friend once, years ago, and he told me he writes mezuzahs. So I'd like to buy actually mezuzahs by him. He walked out of the other office. He was punked in that he sells through the seller. He sells his mezuzahs. He was sitting in the other room. He just came out for a drink of water. So I said, "Okay, it's Hashgacha Pratis." Fine. So I ordered the mezuzahs for him.
That
So-
friend
Yeah.
that was sitting in that office.
Yeah. So I ordered mezuzahs from him. Fine. So I go today to pick it up. I go to pick up the mezuzahs, and he's all excited. He's showing me the mezuzahs. He had the whole thing about showing me about the Alter Rebbe's Ksav. He uses a special type of ink. So a story of its own, unbelievable. It was a fellow who lives I forgot where he lives. He came to the Rebbe in 1990, and he said the Rebbe wants a bracha. He says, "I'm a scientist." And the Rebbe asked him, what is this thing? And the Rebbe gave him an extra $1 on bracha. A year later he came, didn't say who he is. The Rebbe gave him an extra $1, and he said that you should use your scientific experience to invent something l'tovas klal Yisrael. A couple of years ago, the guy was thinking about, what did that ever mean? The kid said he came up with this new type of ink for writing Sifrei Torah Tefillin Mezuzah, which in his opinion, he went to Rabbi Yashiv and he went to Rav Vosner, and they all agreed that this is a terrific ink, and he has a copyright over it. It's a secret of how he makes exactly that, but the general thing is there, a whole Torah about his ink. So he was telling me about this ink. So as he's talking, someone calls him up. A soifer, Choshev a soifer, that lives in Brooklyn, talks in Yiddish. He says, "Ich gehört that the nitz the neue ink." What's the name of that ink? It's Dioila Netzach. He says, "How is it work? Is it good, that ink? Is it a good ink?" So he said, "How do you know you use it?" He said, "Yitzchak told me you use this ink." So he said, "It's great ink." He said, "Where I live, humidity is so low that you have to close the thing. Here in New York, the humidity is terrible. I could sit here all day. I leave the ink here on the desk, and it doesn't dry out." That was just like a trivial piece of why would it be important to say? So he says, "Where do you live that the humidity is so low?" So he tells him exactly where he lives, somewhere in Colorado. He says, "In that city in Colorado?" He says, he says, "Your daughter is Yocheved. She works in the cosmetic store in the airport." He says, "Yeah, how do you know?" So Shliach says, because I don't know, I guessed. Shliach says there was a in Kristallnacht in Hamburg, there was a Sefer Torah that was saved, and this Sefer Torah, the JLI has the Sefer Torah. Now they give it to shluchim that want to make an event out of it, because it has some special history to the Sefer Torah. So Shliach brings it down and they show the Torah and they make a big deal out of the Torah. So Shliach said he went to JLI, he picked up the Torah. They said, "You put it in a box." He said, "No, I don't want to put it in a box. I want to hold the Torah b'kovedik. It's not international flight. It's not a problem. I can take the Torah with me on the plane." And so he says when he came off the plane and he was walking through the terminal, and there was a cosmetic store, and they're selling, and they're so there was a few Jewish girls, and one of them said, "Oh, it's a Torah." So he started telling the story that this was Kristallnacht, so the Torah was saved. So one girl said, "Oh, this is a Sefer Torah." She had tattoos in her arms like this. He said, "What?" She said, "Can I kiss in the Sefer Torah?" So he said, "Sure." He brought her the Sefer Torah, and she's Yocheved. So the Shliach now is trying to work with Yocheved to Mekarav Yocheved. So the Shliach says, I guess this just happened 2 hours ago. So the Shliach figured, the guy is speaking with such a shayna haimish Yiddish. How many girls does he know in Colorado that speak such a Yiddish? He guessed. It was a right guess. I could hear him on the phone. The guy was crying. So Moshe made up to meet him tonight, and we'll see. It's unbelievable. You see, so it turns out his guy called up to find out about the Dioilo Netzach. He wants to know if it's a good ink. It turns out that here he's talking to a shliach who is a strange daughter who is working in Colorado in a cosmetic store owned by a couple of Israeli guys selling items, selling things that are worth nothing for money. Yeah, it's exactly. And it turns out that this shliach, I mean, what are the odds? And it turns out he didn't know this guy's a shliach. He's calling up in Brooklyn to another famous house of Sofrim, where there's a whole bunch of Sofrim, because he heard that in this place the Sofrim are using Dioila Netzach. And this guy just makes a comment about, oh yeah, he's in Colorado, and over there the ink and the humidity. Turns out that he's being mekar of this guy's daughter, and this guy wants to talk to him. He would love to. The shliach. He didn't invent the ink. He's using the ink. He's using this ink.
Goes back to the Rebbe.
Yeah. So now you understand that Rebbe sent shluchim in every corner of the world. Because when we look at a Yid, we say there are Jews that are Balei Chochma, they're very wise people that are Milei Chochma. And there are Yidden that, but the Rebbe saw that every single Jew is Mevakesh Hashem, is searching for the Eibishter. So the Rebbe used to talk about this Rambam all the time. The Rebbe said, well, why am I responsible to go out to the sticks for another Jew? The Rebbe said, because every Jew is Mevakesh. Every Jewish soul is searching. So therefore,
in their own way.
They don't know, so they're looking. They're mevakish. So as we say, it's our achrayus to find that yid And even if it means that we have to go out somewhere in the sticks, we have to go out to Iceland, we have to go out to Russia, we have to go out to Antarctica, we have to go out to New Zealand, we have to go out to Colorado. We have to, because we have to go out to find that Yid, because really every Yid is Mevakesh Hashem, is really every Yid is looking for the Eibishter. The Rebbe says that we have from this a moiridik lesson of Avodas Hashem. The Rebbe says that the ultimate Rebbe is the Rebbeinu Shalom. And who are the students? We're the students of the Rebbeinu Shalom. The Eibishter is Magid V'Orav L'Yakov Chukav Mishpotav L'Yisrael. The Eibishter has to keep the mitzvahs that he gives to the Jews. He has to keep. He has to keep the mitzvahs too. Just like in the Torah it says, when the student goes to exile, the Rebbe has to go with him. So if the Jews are in exile, the Rebbeinu Shalom has to go with them. That's why the Chazal say, B'chol tzaroisem loy tzar. When the Yidden are in tzaras, the Eibush is in tzaras. Kol makom shegolu shchina imam. Where if the Yidden are in golus, the Shechina is with them. Why? Because it's not just that the halacha says, not only that, Mevin Rabbi Imoy, Megalin Rabbi Imoy. The Rebbe also has to go to golus. The Rebbe also has to go. He can't just stay. He'll go sit in his house and say on the telephone, "I'll give you a share." He also has to go to golus. So if the Yidden are in golus, the Rebbeinu Shalom has to be in golus. So he says, "Ebazoi, it's a himmel geshrei." The Rebbeinu Shalom is suffering in golus. Biful the share that the Rebbeinu Shalom should suffer. So we have to have rachmanos of the Rebbeinu Shalom. And we have to ask the Rebbeinu Shalom that the Pasuk says in Yeshaya, the Eibusha says that finally, Lamani Esa. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, finally I'll do it for me. So why? What's the shot? Because the Eibusha puts himself in Golus until he suffers so much that he can't take it anymore. That he has to go out of Golus. And when he has to go out of Golus, we go out to Golus with him. So the Eibusha says, I'll help from the sichos of all these shluchim, from the sichos of all the ma'asim tovim that were done, to go out in Golus in order to pick up all these Yiddelach that are out there and to bring them back to the Orim Miklat, that finally the Rebbeinu Shalom, who himself is in Golus with us, should finally feel that it's the time, and the time has come to bring the Gula Mitzvah Vashleima. Amen.